Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Mahoney. I blog at marveloustales.com and I'm also the author of The Guardian of the Opera trilogy, a retelling of The Phantom of the Opera. So today I'm actually going to talk about other versions of The Phantom. I talk about my own a lot, but there are so many other versions out there as well, and I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a run through. I thought it would be fun to look at my collection of Phantom versions, books and movies, that have been inspiring in one way or another. My version is not any of their versions, but I really acknowledge and honor the ones that came before. And I thought it would be fun to kind of go through that a bit with you. So I got my books and my movies off of my shelf where I have them all lined up in chronological order, and we're ready to go. This is going to be part one because there's a lot of versions, but I'll go through the first half of the stack. And also, I put on my London Phantom shirt special for the video, just in case you didn't think I was intense enough about this story. So let's start at the beginning. It started with Gaston Leroux, Phantom of the Opera. I have a copy in the original French. My parents bought it for me once when they went to Paris. I can't read French. I can pretty much flip through and find Eric and Daye, and I know the last line is Eric est mort. I can read that. I probably didn't pronounce it right. That's all I can do with the French version though. Fortunately, I also have it translated into English. My particular copy was edited by Leonard Wolfe. So he has some nice annotations, footnotes, quite a lot of footnotes. In fact, I don't know if they're going to show up. And that's fun because the book came out, I should have these notes in front of me. I want to say 1909 was the original. It was right around there, within a couple of years if I'm wrong. And it's an old story, but it's funny how much of it is still the same in later versions. There's still the madman under the opera house. There's the mask. There's the facial deformity. There's the beautiful singer Christine Daye. And a lot of things have also changed in the intervening century. The interpretation of the Phantom has changed since the original LaRue, and everyone brings their own stamp on it. And that's actually what I find fascinating going through all these versions. So it's fun to read the very original version. It's fun to have one that was annotated and has some extra insights. I will say, as I recall, Leonard Wolfe occasionally includes a footnote that seems to be there just to be slightly rude about Raoul. I thought it was fun, but Raoul fans, be aware of that. If you get this particular version, there are many other versions though, and the story will be the same. So, because I can't have enough copies of one book, I also have an illustrated version of this. Is again the original LaRue, and it's just got some gorgeous drawings in here. Really fun to bring that to life. Beautiful, just the detailing of it. Because why not have 3 copies of the same book, right? I don't have that many copies of hardly any book. Just somehow that happened with LaRue. Moving on to the next version, we have Lon Chaney. I'm going to try and get that so it's not reflecting. And it's a little bit scary looking, isn't he? That's the 1920s silent film version. And I think this is a particularly pivotal one. If Lon Chaney had not decided to play, or maybe his director decided, but someone decided, to have Lon Chaney play the Phantom with very sympathetic body language, I don't know that you and I would be having this one-sided conversation at this moment. Because it's very odd. The script, the actual plot of the movie does not make the Phantom sympathetic. He's a raving madman, basically. I mean, he's also a bit of a madman in LaRue, although there's some sympathy for him in LaRue as well. But Lon Chaney plays him very sympathetically somehow. And I think that is what started the trend to make the Phantom more than just a crazy gothic villain that's there to be killed at the end. I think this is what contributed a lot to people exploring, is there more here? And of course the answer is there is in all of these later versions as it went on. So the next one, we have the Claude Rains version. I have a VHS tape that I really should replace. I had a working VCR not that long ago, but I don't anymore. So I've been meaning to get this one on DVD because this is a quite good version. I love Claude Rains. He's there playing the Phantom. He's wonderful in Casablanca. He's wonderful in a lot of other movies. He's very good here as well. There's some interesting choices here. It's a very non-romantic version, although to be fair, Lon Chaney and Gaston Leroux are not that romantic either. I mean, there's a little bit, but this one is not. It's really the later versions that emphasize the romance between Christine and the Phantom. This one, it's more of a teacher, mentor, professorial kind of feel. It's different. Also, this one has some interesting choices with his face. This, I think, is what gives everybody in general the idea that the Phantom somehow developed the deformity later in life. In LaRue, he was born with the deformity. In my version, he's born with the deformity. In many versions, he is. But this one, he gets hit in the face with acid. And that's something that filtered out into the popular culture, it seems, because a lot of people somehow know that. And that seems to be from here. This one also has a really interesting ending of what choice Christine makes that I quite enjoy. I don't know, should I give it away? Is it a spoiler? I guess I can spoil a movie from 1943, right? So at the end, Christine doesn't choose to go off with Raoul and be married or choose to be with the Phantom. She actually chooses to focus on her career. And I really enjoy that. And I don't know how they got something like that in 1943. And then nobody since then seems to have really made that decision in their version. That's not the decision in mine, although, well, spoilers. I won't tell you what happens in mine. Anyway, I wish more had done something like that. I really enjoy that in the 43 version. So next, we have the Hammer Horror Films version. This is with Herbert Long playing the Phantom, 1962. We seem to be jumping every 20 years here. And I don't know this if it's going to show, but this has my least favorite mask for the Phantom. It's kind of this blobby brown cloth thing. It has one eye hole, and yeah, I don't know about that choice. This movie has some other questionable choices as well. The Phantom has this demented hunchback sidekick, or maybe he's a dwarf. I think I've slightly blocked it out. That's really an odd choice as well. The chandelier is kind of all iron instead of crystal, and like he doesn't have a lake, he sort of has a sewer. It's a Hammer Horror Films movie. I think it is what it is. Not my favorite, as you might be gathering. Moving on though, we jump another 20 years and we come to Phantom of the Opera, 1986, Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. So you think I'm about to say that I met the Phantom in this. It's only sort of true. I actually started by reading Gaston Leroux while also listening to the soundtrack at the same time. So it was kind of a double introduction for me to the Phantom. And this is the powerhouse version. When people know the Phantom, they mostly know Webber. And that's okay, because it's a really good version. I have the lovely 2-disc edition CD. I borrowed this from a friend originally and had to go buy my own because it's a great musical, great rendition of the story, makes the Phantom much more sympathetic, much more romantic figure as well, and was hugely influential on the versions that then follow. We've gone, about 75 years now from LaRue to Webber, 1986, and there are a lot more versions actually after Webber, and you can see the influence that Webber had. If I could time travel, if that was an option, I would travel to Her Majesty's Theatre in London in 1986 and see Michael Crawford perform The Phantom of the Opera. Crawford is my favorite singer. This is where I met him, so to speak, with this soundtrack, and I've since own all of his CDs, and I wish I could have seen him. I'm the wrong age to have seen him in The Phantom, but if I could time travel, I would do that. And in slightly more metaphorical time travel, that's the end of my first half of my stack. I hope you will come back for part 2, and we'll continue going forward into the future with the many later versions of The Phantom that came after Webber, including mine.